Okay, Eric, part two. So, you mentioned that people should stand behind the rights of other people to be haters, and I don't think anybody has a problem with people in their individual lives being as hate possessed as they want to be. This is the freedom of their mind, etc. So I mean, I don't know anybody who would say you don't have a right to be a hater. What people don't have the right to you is to do, as far as I'm concerned, is to take that hatred and deny other people through power, to deny other people, to oppress other people, and to deny them opportunities. That's what I'm saying. People, there could be somebody, he can be a miserable human being. Hey, it's his right. Go ahead, be a miserable human being. But as soon as you move to oppress someone else, you're committing an injustice. Now, I'm gonna go down to this level of this talk about private property briefly. I did a couple of videos on this a while back. When someone opens a business, there are different types of businesses, okay? And they, to varying degrees, they interface with the public. But I don't believe that a business that someone opens is some absolute form of private property. If anything, I tend to think of it as semi-private, because the business uses resources that are provided by the public. Every business is going to use electricity. Every business is going to use water. It's going to use the public roads for access. Those are publicly provided utilities and benefits, and someone does not have the right then to say, this is my private property, my store is my private property, and I'm just not going to serve you because of your skin color. No, that's unjust, and I don't think people have the right to do that. Now, however they want to feel internally, or think internally, they have the right to think that way, but they cannot discriminate unlawfully, claiming that it's private property. I don't see all the human rights coming from originating in private property. Private property is got to be something that we pre-existed. The human species pre-existed private property, I believe. It's something we invented, just like we invented money. Another invention I don't think we're ever going to get over. It's going to destroy us probably, and it's associated with private property. It's an artifact, a cultural artifact, and when we look at it in terms of absolutes, we do great damage. So, and I've had long arguments with people about this, but I just don't believe that a business is absolute private property, especially as you start to move into public businesses that are run by the government and that are supported by taxes. But taxes do support, to some extent, all social services, from electricity to plumbing to roads and access, egress, etc. So I don't think people should be allowed to deny other people the right to services, access to their stores, the right to jobs based on skin color or race or what have you. Now, the fact that people are being discriminatory is what empowers the government to create tyranny. When the states objected to integration in the school system, that gave the feds the opportunity they needed to march troops into the state. So you see, it's discrimination and injustice that gives government the excuse to extend its powers. It wouldn't be necessary. In fact, no laws would be necessary if people would simply conduct themselves well. We wouldn't even need laws, There would be no law books. This is something my father told me. There would be no law books because there would not even be a need for law if people knew how to conduct themselves. But we don't. And so we end up, having to create all these laws to protect people's rights. Now, as I say, every law that's created, if you look behind that law, you're going to find somebody who conducted themselves poorly. And anytime we, in general, create an injustice, we give the government powers over us, and the government can step in and basically take away our freedom, throw us in jail, do whatever, put us into some form of slavery. Debt does too, by the way. It's another thing that enslaves us. Debt. It's a different kind of. It's more of a bondsmanship. In fact, they call debt bonds, right? They still do. So yes, the solution is, I think, for people to unify, for the groups to stop fighting and to unify and to realize that we have problems in common, etc. But meanwhile, we're all dysfunctional. All the groups are dysfunctional. We all have in our brain some programmed form of discrimination or something that we have to spend a lifetime purging, identifying, purging, raising things to consciousness and saying, oh, hey, where did that come from? Who put that in my mind? I'm tearing it out. And unless everybody is dedicated to doing that, it will just perpetuate itself. Let me see, man. Your email was great. Yes, if we focus our energy on fighting, we're using energy that we could be using to unify. I completely agree with you. So what's the point in But controversial issues have to be brought up, Eric, and things have to be highlighted, and in highlighting things, people will take offense. And I do believe that, at least in the U.S., the majority Caucasian culture, oftentimes, at least during the period of time I was growing up, lived in this fantasy Disney world, not wanting to look at itself and examine itself, but wanting to retreat into, oh, we're so good. I mean, you listen to it all the time. Listen to people after the terrorist attacks, Americans saying, but we're such good people. Why would anyone want to hurt us? We're so good, and we go to church and we mow our lawns, and look what the government has been doing. It's been creating wars all over the planet, and that Americans are walking around saying, but we're so good. I mean, the blindness is unbelievable. So people do have to come to grips with the fact that this is not an innocent country, at least on the governmental level. People have to come to grips with that. It's difficult for them to see. They don't want to admit it. It's going to be painful. It's going to hurt, but they've got to do it. Of course, we can't inspire too much pain. I mean, we've got to teach them in the right way, or people will end up hating us. It's easier to hate what's outside rather than to hate what's inside, So we've got to basically teach people. But it's going to be painful for the country to wake up. Pain is always associated with growing and with consciousness. And I do agree with you that to a certain degree, you're quoted here as saying, that the truth is that the Caucasians are just going to bow down to the police, and people of color are not going to bow down so quickly, and so what happens is, they're going to get. Basically, we're all slaves. It's just that the Caucasians are going to bow down more quickly to the law and to the police, and say, okay, all right, and actually behave more like slaves than a person of color would. And I tend to agree with that. That's probably true. That's probably a factor. But that doesn't remove the fact that the police target people of darker skin. They target people of darker skin because of this mental sickness that exists in these modern times. That just can't be denied, Eric. You can see it in their eyes, my friend. It's real. It's real, Eric. So what we have to do, everybody has to join together. All the groups have to join together by saying, no, do not do this. Do not treat people this way. Do not target people because of their skin color or their religion or any other reason. That's where we have to unify. We have to unify, and we have to unify against injustice. That's basically the story. that's probably where I should leave this video off. I'm running out of time. So anyway, I agree with a lot of what you said, Eric. I think it's really, really valuable what you said. And where I disagree is that some of these things really are real, Eric. They really are real. We are all suffering from a psychological illness, the whole country. And we have to overcome that individually and also join together and unify across groups. Huh? All right, buddy. Feel free to make a response video if you wish. Take care. Bye.